They say a hug is just a hug, but what if that simple moment could make her think about you all day? What if a brief embrace could speak louder than words, stir her emotions, and leave her wondering why your touch still lingers? Let's uncover the truth about how to hug like a man who understands not just touch, but connection. There's a reason why some men leave a lasting impression with just a hug, while others are instantly forgotten. It's not about being bigger or stronger. It's about presence. Emotional presence. Before we spoke words, we spoke through touch. And even today, when we're overwhelmed with noise, notifications, and shallow connections, a hug remains one of the most profound ways to communicate emotion. But here's the truth. Most men hug like it's a task, quick, hollow, rushed, as if they're just going through the motions. But the man who knows how to be calm, grounded, aware, that man hugs with intention, and that changes everything. Let's talk about that. 1. Understand what the hug really means. A hug at its core is not just about physical closeness, it's about the transfer of energy, emotion, and intention between two people. When you hug a woman, you're communicating far more than you may realize. You're telling her about your confidence, your emotional availability, and your presence in that moment. Most people think of hugs as simple gestures, something you do without thinking, but the truth is, a hug can be a deeply spiritual act when done with awareness. Let's break it down. If you approach a hug with tension, hesitation, or overexcitement, she'll feel it instantly. Women are incredibly intuitive when it comes to emotional energy. She might not be able to articulate it, but she will sense when something feels off. Maybe you're nervous. Maybe you're unsure of how to hold her. Maybe you're afraid of coming on too strong. All of that gets transferred through your body and into hers. Now imagine the opposite. You walk up calmly. You meet her energy where it's at. Your arms go around her in a steady, warm, grounded way. You breathe slowly. You don't fidget or rush. You don't squeeze like you're trying to prove something. You simply hold space for her. That's what presence looks like. And presence is magnetic. Presence says, I'm here. I'm not in my head. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just sharing this moment with you. When a man hugs a woman and is truly present, she feels it not just in her body, but in her heart. That's when the hug becomes unforgettable. That's when you go from just another guy to someone she's thinking about hours later. So the first step to hugging like a pro, shift your mindset. Don't treat it like a chore. Don't treat it like a formality. Treat it like an opportunity to connect deeply with another human being. When you do, everything else falls into place naturally. 2. Match the energy, but lead with intention. Every hug carries a rhythm. It's like a dance. And just like dancing, if you come in too fast or too strong, you throw off the entire flow. One of the most powerful skills a man can develop is the ability to read a woman's energy in real time. That means being aware of her body language, her posture, her breathing, and how she initiates the hug. Is she hesitating before she hugs you? Is her embrace loose and quick, or is she holding on for a bit longer? These subtle cues reveal a lot about where she stands emotionally. But here's the Stoic secret. No matter where her energy is, whether warm, unsure, or playful, you meet her where she is, then lead the moment with quiet confidence. Leading with intention doesn't mean dominating the moment. It means guiding it with calm, secure energy. When she gives you a quick, light hug, don't overanalyze it. Instead, hold it a second longer, not to pressure her, but to invite her to stay in the moment. That slight pause is what creates emotional curiosity. It's subtle, but it's powerful. What's critical here is not acting from neediness. If you're hugging her hoping for validation or thinking, I hope she likes me, she'll feel that. But if your internal state is centered, if you're calm, grounded, and simply enjoying the moment, she'll be drawn to that. Remember, women crave emotional leadership, not control, not aggression, but leadership. And in a hug, your ability to be steady, responsive, and present communicates all of that without saying a word. So match her energy first. Don't rush, don't overpower. But once you feel the connection, let her feel your presence deepen. That's how a hug moves from casual to captivating. And when you get this right, she won't be thinking about what you said later. She'll be remembering how you made her feel in your arms. 3. The language of pressure and presence. Pressure is everything in a hug, not just emotional pressure, but literal physical pressure. How tightly do you hold her? Are your arms stiff or soft? Do you grip her like a lost lifeline, or do you hold her like a man who's in control of himself? Here's where most guys go wrong. They either hug too lightly, like they're afraid of getting close, or they overdo it and squeeze too hard, trying to make an impression. But the truth lies in balance. You want to apply enough pressure to let her feel you, your warmth, your confidence, but not so much that it feels forced or needy. A good hug feels natural. Your arms wrap around her in a way that says, "You're safe here," not "please don't leave." There's no rush, there's no tension, just presence. That's where Stoicism comes in. The Stoic man doesn't hug with desperation. He doesn't crave validation through touch. He's whole already, and the hug is an offering, not a request. Let your arms speak, let your chest breathe, let your posture say, "I'm calm, I'm here, and I'm in no hurry." Even the way your hands rest, flat, still, relaxed, sends a message. And when she feels that, she'll melt into you. A woman will always remember the hug that made her feel safe, not just physically, but emotionally. When she knows you're present with her, not distracted, not thinking about how to escalate, not trying to rush to the next move, but just truly present, that's the kind of energy that stays with her. So next time you hug her, tune in. What's your pressure saying? What's your presence communicating? You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be aware. Because in a world of rushed moments and shallow interactions, a truly conscious hug becomes unforgettable. 4. Timing is everything, and less is more. There's something powerful about timing, especially when it comes to physical connection. In the realm of hugs, the moment you decide to let go is just as important as the moment you choose to lean in. Most men overlook this detail, but timing can create the kind of emotional echo that sticks in a woman's mind long after your arms have left her body. Let's think about this like emotional rhythm. If you end the hug too quickly, it may come off as cold or indifferent, like you were just going through the motions. On the flip side, if you hold on too long, it might feel awkward or forced. That tiny moment of indecision at the end of a hug can kill the magic. So how do you master the timing? Here's the trick. Let her body do the talking. Pay attention to her breathing, her posture, the way she shifts. If she starts to release slightly, follow her lead, but don't pull away immediately. Hold on just a breath longer than she expects. That pause, that moment of stillness is what leaves an emotional imprint. It's not desperate, it's confident. It communicates control, awareness, and a kind of unspoken intimacy that catches her off guard in the best way. Less really is more here. The subtlety of your timing says, "I'm not here to take from you. I'm here to share something with you." It's rare. It's powerful. And it's what makes her replay the moment over and over in her mind. When you understand that the end of a hug is where emotional tension is either heightened or deflated, you become deliberate in how you part ways. Don't rush. Don't break eye contact right away. Let the silence do its job. Because here's the truth. You don't need to say a word to make her miss you. If your hug was meaningful, the way you end it will speak volumes. And that lingering energy, that's what makes her think about you all day long. 5. Use touch intentionally, but never desperately. There's a fine line between intentional touch and desperate touch, and women can feel it instantly. The man who uses touch with awareness creates connection. The man who touches with insecurity creates pressure. When you hug a woman, every micro movement matters. The way your hand rests on her back, whether your body is relaxed or tense, whether your touch says, "I want you to feel safe," or "please don't pull away." These are subtle, but they shape how she experiences your presence. Desperate touch comes from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of not being enough, fear of being forgotten. It's the hand that clings too tight, the fingers that twitch with hesitation, the need to escalate quickly into something more. And while you might think she doesn't notice, she always does. Now, intentional touch is the opposite. It's slow, it's calm, it's controlled. It's not trying to prove anything. It's simply there to affirm a connection. A hand resting still on her back as you breathe slowly, a gentle squeeze that doesn't rush, a stillness that says, "This moment is enough." And what's even more powerful, non-reactivity. When you don't try to force the moment, she relaxes. When you don't need anything from her, she feels safe to give more. Stoicism teaches us that true strength is calm, and nowhere is that more true than in physical affection. If you want her to think about you, don't make her feel like she was a performance you were hoping for. Make her feel like she was felt, heard, seen. And that starts with how you use your hands, your posture, your energy, not to take, but to share. So next time you hug her, ask yourself, am I being present or am I being desperate? The answer will define whether she forgets you in seconds or feels you for days. 6. Stillness speaks louder than action. In a world that rewards noise, movement, and urgency, stillness has become a lost art. But when it comes to intimacy, especially something as tender as a hug, stillness can be your greatest strength. When you hold a woman in your arms, it's not about how much you move. It's about how deeply you feel, and more importantly, how still you can be in that feeling. Stillness communicates confidence. It shows you're not chasing the moment, not fidgeting to impress, not trying to fast track your way to the next step. Instead, you're anchored, you're content, you're present. Think about it. A man who is still in a hug is a man who is comfortable in his own skin. He's not trying to escape the moment. He's not overthinking. He's simply there, breathing, feeling, existing with her. And that calm, quiet power, it's magnetic. Most men fidget because they're uncomfortable. They sway, pat backs, shift weight, or tap feet. These are all signs of nervous energy that breaks the emotional flow. But when you remain still, when your body aligns with your mind in peace, you offer her something rare, the feeling of being held, not just physically, but emotionally. Women pick up on these subtleties. She may not consciously think, wow, he was really still, but she'll feel it. She'll feel your depth. She'll remember how safe it felt. And that's what will replay in her mind hours later when she's alone. So practice this. Breathe deeply. Relax your body. Let your arms rest naturally. And just be there. No agenda, no rush. Stillness is not empty. It's full of meaning. And when used in a hug, it becomes unforgettable. 7. Letting go is just as powerful as holding on. The moment you release a hug holds more emotional weight than most people realize. It's the punctuation mark to everything that just happened. And the way you let go can either deepen the emotional resonance or ruin it. Letting go too soon signals discomfort. It tells her you weren't really present. You were just going through the motions. But holding on for too long without attunement can make her feel trapped, uneasy, or unsure about your intentions. So what's the sweet spot? It's when you feel her energy begin to shift. Maybe her arms loosen, maybe her breathing changes, maybe her posture straightens slightly. That's your cue, not to let go immediately, but to give it just one more moment. A second of soft pause. That's what makes her heart flutter. That moment of deliberate release makes her feel like you valued that connection. And when you do let go, don't do it like you're pulling away. Release like you're finishing something meaningful. Look into her eyes. Smile. Not like you're trying to win her, but like you're grateful for the moment you shared. That's what creates emotional contrast. That's what leaves her wondering, what was that? It wasn't needy. It wasn't performative. It was real. Letting go with grace is the hallmark of a man who doesn't chase moments. He creates them, fully and consciously, because in the quiet seconds after a hug ends, she'll either feel disconnected or more connected than ever. And the difference is how you walk away. 8. Make her feel, not just think words, fade. Appearances fade. But feelings, real, emotionally charged feelings, linger. If there's one thing women remember, it's how you made them feel. And when you hug her, the goal isn't to impress her intellect, it's to stir something inside her that she can't quite explain. When you hug with intention, groundedness, and vulnerability, you bypass logic and go straight to emotion. That's where connection lives. That's where memory is formed. She might not remember what cologne you wore. She might not even recall what you said. But she will remember the safety of your arms, the stillness of your energy, the way time seemed to pause for just a moment. That's what leaves a mark. So focus on that. Don't hug her to make a move. Hug her to give her something she hasn't felt in a long time. Presence. In a world full of distractions, a man who offers presence becomes unforgettable. Let her feel seen. Let her feel respected. Let her feel felt. And when she walks away, you won't need to follow her. Because if your hug was real, she'll be the one replaying that moment in her head, wondering when she can feel it again. That's the power of a hug done right. That's how you make her think about you all day long. If this video helped you look at connection in a whole new way, don't forget to like it. It lets the algorithm know this message matters. Comment below. Have you ever experienced a hug that changed everything? And if you're on a journey to understand emotional connection, attraction, and the deeper side of human psychology, subscribe to Olivia Rose. Because here, we go beyond the surface. Until next time, stay grounded, stay intentional, and remember, real connection is silent, slow, and unforgettable.